Nutridyne?
Yes, sir. The technology is really based on information from Edgar Casey. It is definitely not available to any individuals. We're not sharing our secrets. As far as we're concerned, we're the only company that knows how to produce Nutridyne. No one else is into it. It's
1/4 mile. Keep right to east.
It's very.
Yeah, you hear my.
It's very has a high Tesla field. We go through a lot of testing and everything to make sure that it is the very best. That we do put it in that monoatomic state, and that the people, once they get a hold of it, they can use it, and it is a valid iodine that is readily available to the body.
Keep right onto East Vista Way.
One of the things about Nutridyne, and I just talked to my dentist because I was today was my what I call mercury day. The very last of my mercury amalgams is out, and I replaced with zirconium porcelain. And I told him, I said, one of the things, he's a biological dentist, Dr. Jeffrey Curbs in Escondido, and he's one of the top-rated dentists in Southern California, both biological
and
and
1 mile, turn right on Foothill Drive.
And I told him that, one of the things that's difficult for doctors and for dentists is they don't have typical antibiotics that will penetrate through bone, biofilm, or knock off pathogens, but also stimulate the tissue so they're ready for regeneration. So if I have somebody, for example, has NECA, which is osteomyelitic bone problems, and I talked to him just literally minutes ago, you can actually regenerate bone if you use our Lumen Photon micropulse devices. Use both, along with Nutridyne to bring the redox potential of tissues high enough and kill off the pathogens, because it'll penetrate through the biofilm. And then when you're starting to use things like Bone Generator, MyCell D3, Myco D2, Full Vitamin K2, Collagen Max, Mountain Red Velvet, the bone will start regenerating, and you reestablish the Sharpe fibers in the bone. But the key thing is you have to raise the redoxes of tissues for it to regenerate. You can have to have the bone matrix with the Bone Generator, and you have to have the extracellular matrix translate the signal. But without Nutridyne there, really the whole process is going to be cut short. So when I tell people whether they're regenerating heart muscle, if they've got congestive heart failure or a solid organ like liver, they must do high dosages. I'm talking about real high dosages. I'm giving dosages to people now that are trying to regenerate organs or bone of 60 to 100 drops a day, divided up in, say, four levels at least. And I've seen amazing effects where it'll penetrate through body cavities and abscesses. It'll knock down the viral load of hepatitis B and C. It'll get rid of osteomyelitic bone or osteonecrotic bone from radiation therapy. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really does work, and even without the assistance of the dental professional,
1/4 mile,
you get
turn right on Foothill Drive.
In your mouth, you can take the Nutridyne and just put a few drops in a spoon or something, and take that and hold it with your tongue in place, and it'll definitely work with infections or anything like that.
If you've got recent, let's say, wisdom teeth removed or periodontal disease, or you've had a deep cleaning, for example, and you're trying to get rid of periodontal disease, let's say my dentist and their hygienists use very advanced stuff like ozone and YAG laser to clear out the dead debris. But really, I'm trying to convince them that they need to start carrying our Nutridyne and our other things to rebuild the tissue, because without the building blocks, without the ability to knock off the pathogens, and the same thing with all diseases. For example, when I give someone a recommendation for treatment for cancer, the dosages that I'm recommending could be up to several hundred drops a day. And what you find when you raise the redox, and then you put them, say, in hyperbaric oxygen with ozone, and you give them all our antipathogenics, malignoblock, malignarest, ellagic acid, the enzymes to break down the fibronectin capsule. The key issue is cancer is basically an infection. And if you don't get rid of the infection, the deep infection inside the cells, whether it's spirochetes, mycoplasma, fungi, or viruses, you can't really reset the genes to normal.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right on Portland Avenue.
You've probably heard stories from our missionaries in India where they've actually treated the untouchables with cancer and got success, right?
Yes, we have. We've had several examples they give us of where it's been used with all sorts of situations, particularly with advanced inflammatory breast cancer. They had very good success. There's even reports of it working with brain tumors, helping eliminate those.
Right. All tissues, all diseases, a low redox state. For example, in diabetics, which have 6 times higher rate of cancer, the real issue is that if you have cancer, we use nutraceuticals like pyruvate, sparing, D-ribose, and NADH, but you have to raise the redox or electron density of the cytochromes in your mitochondria, and the only way to do that is Nutridyne, which is the key for the mitochondria to activate outer ring deiodination, along with the other minerals. But without the key of monoatomic iodine in its Tesla activated state, you can't displace and get rid of fluoride, chloride, or bromide, and you can't turn on the mitochondria. And so the primary illness, for example, in diabetics, the cells are starving. In a sense, they're hypoxic. So they go, instead of making pyruvate, they make
in 1/4 mile.
They make lactic acid, and the electron chain transport chain is shut off. So what happens is the electron transport chain is shut off, so they ended up with low oxygen in the tissues, and the tissues cannot, regenerate. They can't fight infection inside the cells or outside the cells. So as soon as you start giving Nutridyne, the tissues are prepared to regenerate.
Turn right on Warland Avenue.
That's correct, Dr. Bill. People have used this and found it so successful with different types of infection, but they found it worked with the cancer.
In 1/2 mile, turn right on Vistagram Drive.
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen is I find more and more applications every day. I tell people, no matter what health condition you have, doesn't matter if you have a toenail fungus and you're taking Nutridyne, or chronic obstructive lung disease, or cancer, or tuberculosis, or chronic yeast infections, or an abnormal pap smear, you can make a douche in Nutridyne, and what you'll see is the carcinoma in situ, which is the early stages you can see on a acetic acid colposcopy test. You'll see it return to normal just by doing regular daily douches with the Nutridyne, because it'll kill off the carcinoma in situ virus, which is usually things like papilloma or fungi and other viruses are present that are actually triggering off the gene changes that cause the early changes of the cells to cause carcinoma. So what I really believe is that whether it's hepatoma caused by chronic hepatitis B or C virus, or
right on Vistagram
carcinoma in situ in the cervix, it's basically the same thing. Cancer is an infection on the grounds of a tissue that's toxic, where there's a low redox state and low electron density, and the solution is to repair the mitochondria and the electron transport.
In 1/4 mile, turn left on Elevado Road.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. The Nutridyne has the ability to, once it gets inside the body, particularly if it's close to the site of the infection disease, it goes to work, and it can basically provide the energy to eliminate those infectious areas. We were unsure originally when we started how it worked, but more and more we see it very, very effective on all types of infections.
Out of my car, you wonder my nav. And we'll be back with John in just a moment, so stay tuned. If you have questions.
I don't have to hear my nav anymore. I was driving. John, I want to summarize. I literally can't find a health condition where Nutridyne doesn't help. And I'd like to talk about the technology. Firstly, Tesla-activated monoatomic iodine is not iota caps, iodoral, somebody whiz-bang iodine that somebody else has dreamed up. It is an absolutely unique form of highly energized, activated monoatomic iodine that can displace fluoride, chloride, and bromide. It has the capacity to do 3 things. It raises the redox potential. It stimulates new mitochondria or mitochondriogenesis, and it kills all known pathogens. When you do that, if we start from head to toe, if you have a scalp problem, let's say seborrheic dermatitis, you can get a dramatic improvement in seborrhea by just adding it to your shampoo. If you're in a bath and you're trying to detox yourself, you can put it in your bath along with, say, our MG12 oils and so on. The Magnasport or the MG12 oils or salts. If you're trying to stop periodontal disease, put it in your HydroFloss dental floss. That's what I use. I use HydroFloss, and I put Nutridine in. I put about 20 drops in there in the chamber, which is good for a couple of days. For my Sinupulse Elite, I put again another 20 or 30 drops, at least 30 drops. And when you're dealing with any kind of infection anywhere in your body, whether or not you're, let's say you have Syndrome X, which basically means if you have Syndrome X, you've got insulin resistance. 3 things are going on in your body. Number 1, your insulin receptors are low. You're shunting calories to fat storage, and your inflammatory markers are high because you're loaded to the gunnels with mycoplasma as well as fungi. In fact, this has been known for almost 900 years, going back to even ancient Middle Eastern medicine, that mycobacteria, which are a relative of tuberculosis, is very, very common in diabetics. In fact, it's basically a sine qua non. If you look at peripheral neuropathy, if you want to start reversing peripheral neuropathy, we use things like Nutrifos and Neurogen to supply the fatty acids to rebuild them. Then you need Copper Regenamax and Minerals Plus and Vitamineral Max to give you all the trace minerals. Bio-LVR, very important for rebuilding it. Semethyl, Power Methyl B12, and Superfolate. But the most important of all is Nutridine. If you don't raise the redox potential of the nerves, the regeneration process can't occur. And if you don't clear the pathogens, the pyrogens will cause inflammation of your joints. So one of the first things we find when people take high-dose Nutridine is they say, my creaky joints don't hurt as much. Even before we start adding Collagen Max and Mountain Red Velvet, which all help tremendously, you have to kill off the pathogens and you have to raise the redox potential of the tissue. So, John, when you hear this kind of story, whether it's an eye condition like retinopathy or dementia where someone's basically got diabetic changes of their astrocytes, as soon as you start taking Nutridine, people say, my brain woke up. You probably heard that before, or years before. Oh, yeah. You're saying, somebody says, my brain woke up. What's going on, Dr. Deagle? And I say, well, it wakes up because those astrocytes need not high enough energy to form an action potential to create a neural network. So when you're taking Nutridine, then you add collagen, Cognition Plus, Brain Power Synaptin, then you take things for remyelination like Omega Supreme Krill, Nutrifos, and Neurogen. You take things to help the solid organ regeneration, Copper Regenamax, Minerals Plus, and Vitamineral Max, and your things for methylation pathways, which is Semethyl, Bio-LVR, Superfolate, and Powder Methyl B12. Your brain will regenerate. You can actually prove it with quantitative EEG, SPECT blood flow scans, a T1 weighted MRI scan, positron emission tomography. I can prove it to somebody who says, we have patients right now, online patients that are for Nutrimedical, because that's what I call them, and they have had relatives that are having dementia, and we reverse it with Nutridine and our other nutraceuticals. Wow. We have people in heart failure, and we tell them, you need to take our CoQ10 ubiquinol, CoQ10 Supreme, VascuCare, Cardiovasc, etc. But the most important to regenerate, because remember, 2/3 of the dry weight of your heart is mitochondria, and 75% of your blood vessel wall muscles is mitochondria. So if you don't restore mitochondrial function, which is basically your mitochondrial function in your blood vessel walls goes first in diabetics, and that's why they're at high risk, or someone with hypertension, severe hypertension. It means that their heart is trying to compensate for very poor circulation because their mitochondria are failing in their blood vessel walls. Now, if you talk to the average cardiologist, they won't tell you that. In fact, they will give you drugs like HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors that interfere with CoQ10. What I tell people is we'll max out high-dose Nutridine. We're talking about 60 to 100 drops a day to get them out of heart failure and get them out of congestive heart failure. Start adding things to raise the redox potential and give them CoQ10 Supreme, ubiquinol, and carnitine or VascuCare, etc. But we give them mild hyperbaric oxygen and ozone. But the most important first step is, again, Nutridine. When we have somebody with cancer, we max it out. They're taking Laetrile, going to Mexico clinics, they're getting hyperthermia, they're doing the Coles vaccine or the dendritic vaccine where they take RNA. We add Nutridine, and it changes the whole paradigm. All of a sudden, they're on our full cancer protocol. They're starting to make progress. Their cancer are getting a die-off reaction. and this is important, you have to protect yourself from the die-off by taking things like Nutrimedical, carnosine, cell detox, glutathione, selenium cruciferate, and so on, because you're going to get a die-off, and you have to be prepared for the fact. And the same thing with Nutrimedical. Nutrimedical is powerful stuff. When we start people off, John, you've seen this on our protocol. We start them off and give them so many drops. I remember one of the first times I told somebody, I said, well, just take a drop in water and see what it does. And they said, that's not going to do anything. And they were running to the bathroom, having explosive diarrhea. And it's like, do you realize how much toxins you've built up in your body over 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years? And, of course, they didn't realize, and not only that, it's getting a die-off because it's killing off pathogens. So you've heard that too, haven't you?
Oh, yes, I have. It certainly is real. And a lot of the things people are surprised at is when they start taking the Nutrimedical, they may get pimples for the first time in many years, but it's that bromide in the skin that has to be pushed out to get rid of it, and it'll oftentimes come out in a pimple. You can just reduce a little bit or just keep it up, and it'll go away.
Well, you know how you stop the problem? High-dose Power C, which gives you electrons. Remember, the Nutrimedical and Power C are like the left and right hand. So I tell people, if you're going to max out Nutrimedical, you want to take 30, 40, 50 grams equivalents a day of vitamin C, ellagic acid, full vitamin K2, and malignant block. These are all what's called apoptogenic agents.
Okay.
And when you do that, you completely block the toxic effects of the die-off reaction and the free radical surge that occurs. So high-dose Power C, cell detox glutathione, Nutrimedical, Regenerex, and carnosine, and each one selectively knocks up a particular type of free radical. And then, of course, we repair the ion channels with things like gamma E+, which is our gamma tocopherol and tocotrienols. So we don't get a die-off reaction like that. I tell people, one of the things we've done too is if we give somebody, let's say, our Bioplasm Clinical, which is the most advanced, or the Bioplasm Pro expert, and we repair their bioplasmatic body, they're going to start dumping. Or if we start using lumen photon or infrared sauna or micropulse, the body's going to start dumping toxins. You have to buffer the body. So when you start using Nutrimedical, it's powerful stuff. A lot of people, that's just iodine. No, this is going to kill anything that doesn't belong in your body. And it's going to start detoxifying everything. So you have to be prepared for the fact this is no joke. When you start taking it, anything bad that's been built up since birth and before is going to leave. Yeah. And if it's not buffered, it's going to leave nasty. So you can completely block that if you use high-dose Power C and these other things. So Nutrimedical is our number one and becoming bigger every day in terms of every health condition you can imagine. It has an application, every single one. We were talking on the break, and I've been thinking about it, and I've got the vision, if you want to call it, of carrot bars. People say, well, what do you do, Dr. Bill? I said, well, what the Nutrimedical and the Clay and Iron, Nutrimedical.com and clayandIron.com, what we do, our ministry, is to give people empowerment. Empower them with the best biological dentistry, best medical care and functional medicine, which means when you're a health consumer, best legal care when you're a pro se litigant with the jurisdictionary. And I belong to the Gun Owners of America organization, both nationally and here in California. And I have to say, I feel like a financial gun owner who got my first gun when I joined Carrot Bars. In other words, I have a financial gun now. That means that the fractional reserve currencies aren't going to take everything away. Now, I've been a gold saver for 25 years, gold and silver, but this is way more advanced. And you have, we call vaultable gold in these cards, and there's soon coming a Carrot Bar currency, actual notes with gold in it, and Carrot Bar fractional transfers that can be done through an encrypted network. And I see Carrot Bars even as a standard for electronic bartering currency, EBC I call it, electronic bartering currency, where the Carrot Bar becomes the standard for international encrypted bartering around the world. And we're not talking about prostitution and drugs or illegal activity. We're talking about legal and moral activities that are going to allow people to have credit immediately and allow them to do things. When you start in this Carrot Bar business, we're going to support you. We're going to put people under you. We're going to help to train you. In fact, Michelle is now automated in the last 2 weeks. She's so amazing. Down to 10 steps. If you go, you don't even have to call her now, unless you really needed help. But you go to our website and the links, it tells you exactly what to do. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how you can log on, get registered. Then you're registered and you can purchase your package, put up your KYC documents. She shows every step, and you're going to get bonuses as well. Those bonuses, when you buy a package, are going to allow you to buy future gold or even give those bonuses to other people you want to sponsor, so it'll cost them less in order to get a package or a membership. So, to me, this is an ultimate business. You actually saving a non-fractional reserve currency. You're building a business that's going to get residual income in real dollars. Okay. You're going to actually build a network of people that you're helping, so they're no longer going to be putting their assets into a fractional reserve currency, because 14 currencies are teetering on collapse and 13 more are on their way. Now, the only way that the globalists can do this is they are chaos masters. They have to have a national, international plague, a virus. They have to have a war. They have to have economic chaos like they're having in Greece, where they pump another $70 billion in, but only about 8 of those billions are going to go back to the Greek people. The rest of it goes right back to the banks to pay off debt that's now bigger. So it's like, let's put it this way, it's like a mafia movie in the 1920s with Jimmy Cagney, or 1930s, and they're saying to you, well, Jimmy's telling me, hey, boss, he owes more. I said, that's good. He's in deeper into us. And of course, that's what it is. It's mafia-type activity. And right now, with the bailing in that's been done in Cyprus, the bailing in policy is absorbed by the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, and the Federal Reserve here for America. Bailing in means if you've got money in the bank, they can take it as an unsecured investment and just poof, it's gone, just like magic, like, Las Vegas show, where all of a sudden they lift up the curtain and say, well, where's my money? And you say, well, you're a bad investor. You put it in our bank. I mean, what do you say to that, Pete? It's pretty scary stuff, isn't it?
It is, and that's about as accurate as you can be. There is no recourse when you have your money in the quote unquote in the system. And that's right. One of the reasons that I'm preaching these days. Like I say, I don't like to get into fear porn. I like to look at things proactively and doing things. Yeah. And that's what Karatbars is. It's a solution to all this. But nevertheless, number one, get your money out of harm's way. Get it out of the banks, the brokerages, and even your retirement. And number two,
I tell people have enough money to run in the banks to run your business. Mm-hmm. And if you do get money, like even in your Karatbars account, MasterCard, transferred into gold assets in Karatbars, and eventually what I'm working with Professor McCanny is I want to set up an encrypted network that will have electronic bartering currency that will use the Karatbars as its standard by which everything else is measured, like a tally stick. I call it the Karatbar tally stick system, where everything on earth, whether you're buying bread or babysitting or dental care or shoeing horses or whatever you're doing, that anything anywhere can be quantitated, including the transport of a specific good to another location, using Karatbar currency. And eventually, I see this as a way to create a parallel secondary economy that can't be hyperinflated, it can't be blown to pieces, and it can't impoverish people. Because if you've got, let's say, giving an example, let's say a senior citizen's got $500,000 in the bank. They should be, number one, building a network right now. They should be purchasing Karatbars. They should be getting themselves, and we have people who just want to buy gold and silver. Well, gold and silver are okay, but it doesn't build a network to help other people. It's also not vaulted gold, which means you have to bring it to a brokerage. They have to say, yeah, is it really gold? And if you bring it to somebody who's not a broker, they're going to say, well, we're not going to pay spot price for this per ounce. It becomes difficult. And what you want is a currency that literally is a money system. That's why Ted Anderson here at Genesis, who sells Midas Resources Gold for years, he's the founder of Genesis Network. Why he gets into this, and he's our upline, our direct upline, because he knows we need a gold-backed world currency. This is the only solution to the chaos masters that are driving us toward chaos of international plagues, war, pestilence, and economic chaos. That's what's going on with Greece. The solution is a credit-based economy, not a debt-based economy that's fractional reserve. So that's really important, isn't it? That's why Ted got into this. He saw the vision that this is important, isn't it?
You better believe it. And he's got a solution already, but most of that is acquiring numismatics and collectibles and so forth.
And those are good as long as you have somebody who will buy them. For example, you have a numismatic, you have to have someone in a small segment of the population that wants to buy that coin with those funny little markings on it. When you get carrot bars, each one is certified by LBMA. It's a small fraction of an ounce of gold, but it has value. For example, I think, 1 gram of gold now is, $55 or $60 an ounce when it's LBMA certified in a carrot bar card. Then you can buy gold at $35 to $40 an ounce, but it's not what's called vaulted gold that's certified in a card or a discrete element that when it's transferred around, like from one person to another, you can't say, well, is that really gold or is that zirconium, covered with a gold dust or whatever, gold coating.
That's correct, and that does make a huge difference. Is that Carrot Bars is shipping a traveling vault? It's not just the gold, and that is significant value added to people, and people that actually understand that get that Carrot Bars is very aggressively priced. It's an asset class, first of all by itself, and number two, it is at or below the lowest price on any given day in that class. There's only 3 or 4 competitors that package their gold substantially similar to what Carrot Bars is doing.
Yeah, but they don't have all the other positives of Carrot Bars. They don't have the, in other words, you can join Carrot Bars and just get registered. You can just be a customer and buy Carrot Bar cards, even if you don't get a package. But when you get a package, you start to build a network. So, we already have, dozens of people that have called us in the last week and a half. Dozens, that want to join. And they're joining like crazy in our network. And what they're going to do, because they're smart, they know that if they purchase 1 gram of gold a month, which is not much, it's $55, $60, they get a bronze package, and they can upgrade, by the way, at any time. They're going to, if we can just get one person replicating what they're doing under them per month in 1 year, they're going to make a huge extra stream of income. Plus, they're going to, after a while, they're going to get their gold free because they're going to have bonus cards and points and everything. They won't be paying for gold down the road. It'll just be coming to them, right?
That's right, automatically.
It's amazing. This is quite an amazing business. It is going to be an alternative to the crazy system of fractional cash. Like, I'm just an early learner, but I'm a fast learner, and so is Michelle. She's automated this system now to make it so amazing, to help you to automate it as well out there. And here's how it works. If we buy a package, or if someone buys a package and we are able to have some of our bonus things, and you can go to your dashboard, once you go open your website and you bought your package, you're going to get some dashboard codes electronically. As soon as you buy it, you don't have to wait for a few weeks to get the physical package and the Carrot Bars. And you can actually transfer those to other people to help them buy. So here's an example. Let's say Mrs. XYZ, let's say consult last week, she says, Doc, I'm really sick and I'm suffering and I can't, the regular doctors are hurting me. And I said, look, you need to give you 3 or 4 things. And she said, well, I can only afford 2. I said, well, here, what you need to do, and let's say I give that person, let's say, a bonus card so that they can purchase a bronze package and start saving 1 gram of gold a month. 6 months or a year from now, you're going to be able to afford not only have the gold coming to you without cost, but you're going to have enough money to pay for your supplements so you can stay well. You can have an extra $200 or $300 a month. It turns out they did an actuarial study that $400 per month would prevent most people from going bankrupt in America. Isn't that amazing? $400 more. So if somebody go to a budget manager and they get $400 more, they would simply, now you can earn considerably more than that, even if you're a single mother at home, even on welfare. Let's say, oh, I can't afford to do this or that. I said, look, this is a business that everybody can do, and we'll help you. In fact, that's why if you get somebody, we had one gentleman up in L.A. who's retired and is quite wealthy. He wants to help people. He wants to be able to transfer things to other people so that they can join the network. He doesn't want to do it himself. He's already, multimillionaire. It is a good example. He will purchase Carrot Bar cards, but he wants to get people into the network because he knows if we don't have a replacement economic system for the current system, it's going to blow apart. I mean, it's going to go blow. I mean, if you can go to all the experts, from Gerald Celente to all the experts, and I'm sure you have a dozen you can quote. And some of them will say, well, it's not going to happen like Joel Skousen will say, well, they got control of too many levers of the system. That may or may not be true, but they can't control everything. It's all these meetings, like the meeting of the in Basel, Switzerland, of the Bank of International Settlements, called BIS. It should be called BS, actually. And the meetings from the United Nations and the Bilderbergers, these are all marketing meetings to tell each other that, yeah, we're still in control. They're like kids running a go-kart down the side of a mountain on a road without a side rail, and there's 7,000-foot drop, and the other kids are screaming, I think we lost our front-wheel control system, and we're going to crash, but there's nothing to stop us except free air and 7,000 feet. And the problem is, they're telling each other it's going to be okay, and it's not. So I predict the following. I predict that we're not going to have a complete crash because they have controlled too many levers, just like they're going to give another $70 billion to Greece. But there's going to be a correction, and that correction is going to hurt people. If there's a correction on, say, if we get a cold, someone else gets a cardiac arrest. So if the dollar drops, let's say, 20% this fall, other economies are going to not be able to afford to buy food on the international commodities market. That means thousands, if not millions, of people starting starving this fall and next year. That's because of the currency system, isn't it?
Absolutely. It just goes to show that what you hold in paper currency happens to whatever you hold in that paper currency, whether it's stocks, bonds, or any investment of any kind.
And by the way, this is international. We can have downline in China. We have audience in China and Russia and elsewhere. If you are a downline, we're going to help build you because you need to get in Karatbar currency, and eventually this is going to expand. So it's going to give you Karatbar notes that'll actually be notes that can't be devalued because you can't print them off because it actually has gold in them. It has all the high security things that are more secure than regular money, but it actually is not fractional reserve money. And it's going to move also to the Karatbar International partial part of a gram transfer electronically and to our electronic bartering currency that allow you to use bartering. I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody says, this is 2 years from now, and this is my vision, and we're working with Professor McCanney. We can have, say, somebody said I can give so many units of dental care, and have a table, what they are, for, let's say, advanced biological dentistry. Somebody says I can do babysitting, or someone else can do welding. They can actually deposit that, have it certified that they have that as a credit, and then they can buy goods and services through electronic bartering. Isn't that an exciting idea? It means everybody would automatically, as soon as they register they have a service or a commodity available, would have credit to buy something they need. And it couldn't be inflated, and it couldn't be stolen, and they don't have to go and take a loan out to buy it. They would immediately deposit their capacity to supply a good or service, and it have the same kind of certification like Uber, with the Uber taxi, where they rate the buyer and the seller. So that you could actually check someone's buying and selling rate, and you're not going to buy from somebody that doesn't have a high rating, and somebody can be decertified because they don't provide the services. That's neat, isn't it? Just like the Uber taxi, right?
Very neat.
Now,
I like that concept.
And if somebody wants to partner with me to help develop this, I'll do it because I'm the creative behind this idea of, and I've been thinking about this for like 20 years. Okay, because I knew gold was good, so I've saved a lot of gold and silver over time, and it's great. I mean, to have gold and silver, but it's not even anywhere near as exciting as Karatbars, because Karatbars is going to go way beyond. It's actually a replacement currency that's not fractional reserve. It's an electronic exchange system that can be fully encrypted. It is a credit-based system, not based on debt or usury. That's amazing, isn't it? In other words, you can give a credit to an entire nation. Just rate exactly what that nation can generate in terms of goods, services, and whatever, and they automatically then have credit. They can start building roadways and hospitals and doing things that they need and developing alternative care, and because you don't need to take a loan from an international bank or create fractional reserve money out of thin air, which is what they're doing. You literally have credit because you have capacity to generate goods and services and intellectual property. That's neat, isn't it?
Absolutely neat. It's kind of like being able to mine your own gold, if you will.
Right, and of course it has to have a standard that can't be fiddled with, which is why Karatbar's gold is even better than gold. It's actually shinier than gold in a sense, because when you have Karatbars, you've vaulted gold cards that have the gold, and soon Karatbar currency, physical notes, and then by this end of this year, we're going to have a Carrot Bar electronic transfer. So there'll be vendors that'll say Amazon or grocery stores or airlines that'll pick up Carrot Bars faster than anything because they know that currency is not going to get devalued. What happens if somebody buys something on the open market, including commodity, and they can certify that they're going to buy and sell it not in regular dollars that can all of a sudden be devalued and really screw up the commodities market, but in Carrot Bar currency? Isn't that exciting? A year or two or three from now, this will explode. I mean, people don't realize this is a wave to get on right now. If you get on this wave, you're going to get into a new type of currency that's going to get away from the idea of a fractional reserve currency that eventually is going to go biometric, which is the mark of the beast, that's going to allow encryption so governments won't be able to fiddle or control it. And it's going to allow you to barter and to immediately get credit for things that you can provide down the road to provide to someone else, so you can purchase things for yourself that you need. That means you're no longer employed by an employer, you're employed by the Carrot Bar exchange system. Isn't that exciting, too?
It's fantastic, but I got to stress, the only way to do that is you got to start by registering. Then
right, you register first.
Move forward, get a package.
Yeah, when you register, it's real simple. You log onto our website. The 10 steps are right there. Right under it says Vision KB on the front page of Nutrimedical. You follow those 10 steps. If you have questions, call us at our order line, 888-212-8871. If we need help, we'll also go upline to Pete and some of his other helpers that help as well. But Pete is always there. He's a very, very level-headed guy. You're so patient, Pete. It's amazing. Teaching us. But I get so excited about this because I tell people I want a physical solution to people's health issues. So we reverse diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and other things. This is a cancer of the financial system. This is, to me, this is as important, or more important in a sense, than having a gun in your home. If you don't have Carrot Bars as part of your alternative side income, I don't care if you're a millionaire. Those millions can go poof if they decide, well, you're an unsecured creditor in the bank, and we're just going to grab 80, 90% of what you own. You could be a pauper pretty darn quick. So get into Carrot Bars now. We'll build a network together. We'll help you. This is the alternative currency. This is what's going to replace the horrendous fractional reserve currencies in the world. And register today. Get your package as soon as possible. Put up your KYC documents. You need a separate one for your driver's license and either a power bill or something that proves that you have a residence. Set them up separately. You're going to get some electronic confirmation when that package is accepted. You can transfer those codes right away and help somebody else buy a package at a discount. Build your network with us, and we'll build an amazing alternative income and alternative economy that is a credit-based.